guys hear me okay? Is this loud enough? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So, before I begin, first giving honor to God, who is the head of my life, on behalf of NSBE in its entirety for holding this conference, to the Outsiders Movement for allowing me to speak on their behalf, to you, the audience, good morning.
Good morning.
Before I get into it, I see some more people coming in, so I'm going to just kind of prolong it just a couple seconds, just so I can have a seat. Okay, so I have about 15 to 20 minutes to talk to you guys, and so I'm trying to get like as much as I can in those 15 minutes, okay? And so in those 15 minutes, I want to be personal with you guys. I want to be transparent. Is that cool? Is that all right? Okay, so before I begin my transparency, I have a question for you all. And the question is, how many of you like transition? In other words, how many of you like change? Drastic change, small change, unexpected change. See, that's actually kind of surprising. See, most people don't enjoy change because change makes them uncomfortable. Like it takes you out of your element, right? But okay, so let me ask you in another way. How many of you like getting better? How many of you like growing? Whether that be in your career, in your education, in your relationships at home, personally, how many of you enjoy improvement? Now see, the funny thing about that is, both of those questions are actually one and the same. See, we tend to want to grow without wanting to change. We tend to want to reach that next step without having to adapt. We want to reach life's new enhancements without embracing the transitions in which is required to do so. It's kind of like we want to learn how to swim without getting in the pool. And you can research it, and you can take pictures of the ocean, and you can buy all this equipment, but until you decide to immerse yourself in that water, what? You will never know how to truly swim, right? So Lin Kuan says that, he's a philosopher, he says that change leads to innovation, and innovation leads to progress. So essentially what he's saying is that change can lead to progress. And so change is another word for transition, which is exactly what the Outsiders Movement has done from being just a radio show. So I thought about it. You know, what is change? What does change truly mean? See, I don't know about you, but I'm a man of definition. And I believe that anything you do in life, anything at all, requires the right definition. Because how you define your life will be the outcome of such life, right? So, you know, I looked it up. What's the definition of change? What's the definition of transition? I'm going to read it to you. It says that, the dictionary says that transition is the process or period of changing from one condition to another. Now watch this. A synonym for transition is transformation. Everybody say transformation.
Transformation.
One more time.
Transformation.
Okay, keep that word transformation. We'll come back to it. But to give you an example of transitioning, how many of you remember when you were a little kid? And I did this all the time, especially towards the high schoolers and the college students. You couldn't wait to be an adult, right? You didn't want your older siblings to help you. You didn't want your mama to do it. You didn't want your daddy to care. You got it. You good, right? So then you start growing, and you start feeling those growing pains, and you get it in your knees and in your back, and you start getting stretch marks and acne. And I got a lot of that. And then you start learning how to drive, and you get your first job, right? But all the while, no, it's cool. It's great because you're close to being an adult. And so time passes, and then you come to graduation, and you graduate, and then you become of age, and you're an adult. And if I'm being honest, I'm just as confused now as I was when I was a kid, if not more. It's like the more you know, the less you understand, right? But what is one of the biggest differences between the kid you and the adult you? What's one of the most significant differences between who you were then and who you are now? To answer that question, one of the biggest differences is the younger you kept her eye on the prize. See, the younger you was willing to endure that transformation process. See, we come back to that word transformation. They're willing to endure that transformation process in order to be all that they can be, in order to be that adult. But what happened? What happened? What happened was you stopped that transition process. Now, you didn't literally stop growing. Physically, you kept growing. But metaphorically, you shrunk away from the necessary changes in your life to be who you would be, or supposed to be. And some of you today are living a lie or selling to be a person who does not properly execute the task before you, the task that you were created to fulfill, because you settled. And so I thought about this, and I began to think of why we settle, and one of the things that come to mind, and one of the most popular things that's so great in this outsiders movement is pouring into these young people to be themselves, right? And so most of us, we don't want to be ourselves because we want to show off, right? You want to be first place. You want to be the best, You want to be a part of that in crowd, that clique, that sorority, that fraternity. But to be honest, most of us don't even like the popular people. Like really, most of us don't even get along with those we blindly follow. But the sad thing is, we will kill ourselves to be a part of this group, of that clique, of that collaboration, because we do not know who we truly are. How many of you right in here today, youth and adult alike, how many of you know in this moment who you are? Matter of fact, better yet, how many of you know who you are and can still embrace that person? Knows that person intimately and is proud to be that person? It's quiet now, right? In order to grow, you must embrace that transition if you want to make a mark on the world, if you want to make a difference, if you want your life to excel and to succeed. And I know some of you are like, well, okay, but change is hard, and it's drastic, and it hurts, and it's tedious. And what do I do when the transition is stripping away all that I am? And if you were to ask me this question, if you were to tell me those things, I would wholeheartedly agree with you. Because transitioning is very hard. Change is very difficult, and sometimes you won't understand it. There's a young man that I'm close to, that I know pretty well, and he's allowed me to share bits and pieces of his testimony. Because of time, I'm not going to go into great detail, but he's allowed to show me, to share some of that with you so that you can see that those transitions in life can help you be who you were called to be. Because how many of you know that life can either make you or break you? Yeah. Okay, so this young man, he's the oldest of 10. He has 9 younger brothers and sisters. So as you can imagine, responsibility was, you had to have it, and you had to grow up quick, right? And so he was the oldest of 10, and his parents had him at 16 and 17 years old. And he was telling me that he's seen them maybe 4 or 5 times in the same room his whole life. And he lived with this mother, and despite the fact that his parents did all that they could because of life circumstances, because of changes, because of generational curses, they didn't have a whole lot. And so they often moved, change, transition. And so he went to 4 different elementary schools, and he was telling me that by the time he graduated high school, he had moved about 8 to 10 times, and in the midst of that change and that transition. And because of the way that they lived, sometimes his mom had to boil the water on the stove so they could take a bath. Or sometimes he had to leave the oven open in the house so that the house would stay warm. He was telling me a time that him and his sister would ask his mother what was for dinner, and they would watch in pain as she would cry because sometimes she just didn't know. Change, transition. And so he took this change and he kept growing and he got older, and as he grew and as he got older, his grandmother passed of cancer. And so he took that change and that transition, he kept growing, he got older, and then a few years later his aunt passed of cancer. And so then he took that transition, he took those changes, and he kept growing, he got older, and then a few years later his grandfather passed of cancer. And then he got to high school, and he was telling me about how he fell in love with this girl. He was telling me how so much in love he was with this girl. That he was head over heels, that she changed his whole life around. But then she too passed in a car accident because she wasn't wearing a seatbelt. And so he took that change and that transition, and he kept going, he kept pushing. And then a few years later, his best friend committed suicide. He had to speak at his funeral. So he took that change and that transition, and he kept growing, he kept pushing, and he got older, and then another friend was shot by a police officer and killed. Now he took all those interactions, He took all those changes. He took all those hardships. He took all those unexpected things, and he handled them before the age of 21. Could you imagine? I know that some of you feel like, or at least I felt like this, that no one understands your pain. No one understands the constant changes that you had to endure. No one gets it. No one can feel your uncertainty or your confusion. But I just want to share with you some of the things I've learned along the way. One of those things is that no matter what you're going through in life, no matter what it is, there is someone out there who gets it. Now, the details of your story may not exactly match up 100%. But there is someone currently either going through what you've been through or has been through it themselves. You are not in this alone, and you do not have to do it by yourself. Another thing that I've learned, and this, if you don't get anything else today, get this. Because this sat me down, this humbled me. I had to think about this, I had to pray about this, I had to marinate on it for months at a time. And one of those things is, see, sometimes God will allow changes in your life to show you that he doesn't. And I'm going to say it again just in case somebody missed it. Because, see, we as humans, we get used to stuff, right? We start feeling entitled, and we forget, we take things for granted. So sometimes God will allow change in your life to show you that he doesn't. To show you that he has remained faithful and that he has remained constant. Now, going into a new transition is never easy. And as the outsiders turned themselves from a radio show to a movement, there were many obstacles that we faced. But there are some ways in which we persevered that I believe can help anybody going through change. First and foremost, we stayed faithful. First and foremost, we stayed prayerful. And we were intentional about looking at every situation, every circumstance, every scenario through the eyes of heaven. Second thing we did, this actually goes against social norms, but it's so perfect for outsiders movement anyway, right? The second thing we did was we accepted how we felt, and we accepted certain situations. I remember earlier I was telling you that I'm a bad definition. And so when people hear that word acceptance, like, oh, if you accept something, then you're cool with it. If you accept something, then it's okay. You're happy with it. That's it. But you must change your definition. So what we did was we changed our definition of acceptance. So we said, okay, this is how we feel in this certain situation. These are the cards that we've been dealt in this certain situation. Now that I've been honest with myself and honest with you all, now what's my next best step? From here, how can I be the most sufficient and efficient moving forward? Right? Y'all follow along with me? You good? I'm not going too fast? Okay, cool. My mouth's a little dry, so forgive me if I start mumbling. So, the third thing that we did, which is way easier said than done. The third thing that we did is we didn't give up. We did not give up. Now, we took breaks and we rested. Lord knows I needed it. And actually, I encourage that rest and those breaks. DJ is the man. That deserves an A right there.
Hey.
I'll never do that for you.
Thank you. Lost my train of thought. Sorry about that. So I encourage those breaks and those rests because they are crucial to your success. And it's so funny because the world we live in today is like, oh, if you slow down, that's it. If you stop for 1 second, you're left in the dust. Breaks, you don't get tired, you don't share emotions. That's what this world makes us believe. But in order to be successful at anything, you need rest. When you're working out, when you're training, rest is honestly more important than the workout itself. You have to have time to recuperate. You have to have time to recover. Like I said, we didn't give up. When times were hard, we admitted it. When we felt discouraged or saddened, we owned up to it. But we kept moving forward. And we allowed those transitions to embody us. We allowed those transitions to push us into a movement. Now, like I said before, life can either break or make you. And so that young man that I was talking about earlier today, his story, he could allow those changes and those transitions in his life, he could allow them to push him over the edge. He could have allowed them to lead him astray. But since he embraced them, since he has faith, he allowed them to make him who he is today. And so he was able to graduate high school. And he was able to go to college. And he was able to be in the newspaper before high school and college for spoken word poetry. And he was able to be a competitive boxer, and a pretty good one at that. And he was able to go across the country on mission trips. And then he was able to go across the country in speaking engagements. And then he was able to be a co-host to a radio show. And then he was able to stand before you today and tell you that if you let the transitions in your life push you into greatness, there will be miracles. And there's no doubt about it. But you have to be willing to accept those transitions, to accept those necessary changes. Even the ones that aren't in your control, because if we're being honest with one another, if it was up to us, nothing would ever change. We keep our routine, right? We keep our schedule. We keep all that. Keep that comfort. And so it's so important to embrace those transitions. It's so important, like I said, to be committed and to not give up. And one of the reasons why we didn't give up is because we were committed. And so when you've made a commitment to a person or a thing, it is your obligation to see it through if you truly value it. And see, this is something that I personally struggled with growing up. If it was hard, shoot, I'm doing something else. I was like, all right, well, basketball's too hard, on something else. This class is too difficult, I'll take a C or a D, I'm passing school. I let that difficulty define me. But what better thing to be committed to than yourself? What better thing to not give up on than being who you were created to be? Right now, there are hundreds of thousands of people across the United States who are listening. Listen, who've been sold into slavery, sex trafficking, and there are people who are in other countries around the world who are abducted at 3, 4 years old, who will never know what family means, what happiness is. They'll never be able to find the liberation that is in being original. They will never know who they are. Right now, in this moment, you have a beautiful, amazing opportunity to be an outsider. To say, you know what, I'm not just gonna settle. I'm not just gonna fit in. I'm gonna do me. Even if that's hard, even if that's tedious, even if I don't completely know the whole entire dynamics of it. And I won't lie to you. As you transition in life, wherever that may be, once a new job, family, houses, whatever, there will be times when you feel alone. And there will be times for youth and adults who lose friends. As you transition, your mindset will change. Things will become different. If you keep going, if you hold on, you will be triumphant. Ecclesiastes 7:8 says that the ending of a thing is much better than its beginning. So basically what that scripture was saying is that it doesn't matter how you started off. It doesn't matter if you started off and you stumbled and you failed. It doesn't matter if you started off and the aspects of your life weren't ideal. You don't have to let the beginning determine the end. And see, that's what Outsiders Movement is all about. We want it to be a community where people who decide to be who they are can come and be encouraged, empowered, and uplifted. But see, here's the thing. You have to decide to be who you truly are. Or you have to decide to at least invest that time, that energy, and that effort in discovering are. We want the Outsiders movement to be a home for those who feel that they don't fit in, so that they can ultimately be a part of something bigger than themselves. Because this movement, what we're doing today, can and will change the world. It will. And I know that I only got about 15 minutes, so time's pretty much almost done. But I just want to leave you with this. In order to get something different, because see, we all want something different, right? We want something better for our lives, better for our families, better for the communities, right? So in order to get something different, you have to be something different. So don't conform. Join the movement and be an outsider. Thank you.
I won't stay here another night if I gotta sacrifice who I am on the inside. I'd rather be an outsider.